Hello and welcome to Game Theory. I'm your host, Sam Vecenie. It's time for some post-game theory. It was another night in the basketball world that was absolutely incredible. We had Joel Embiid's debut. We had a really fun Franz Wagner versus LaMelo Ball game in Orlando. We had Cooper Flagg going for 26-12 in the Champions Classic, although Duke did lose to Kentucky. We're going to talk a little bit about Victor Wembanyama's game last night against Sacramento and some process versus some results things. And it was just generally a wild night between Eric Spoelstra calling a timeout and costing his team a game at the end against Detroit. We'll talk through all of it, but first, let's hit the music.
They do have a timeout. Decide not to use it. Way downtown.
Bang! Bang! What's this gonna be? Wow! Are you kidding me?
Hello and welcome to the Game Theory Podcast. I'm your host, Sam Vecenie. But if you watch the tape, what you will see completely orchestrated this game. There were truly so many fun things tonight that I didn't even get a chance to watch. I did not get a chance to watch the Atlanta Hawks actually defeat the Boston Celtics behind an incredible 28-point, 7 assists, 6 steal game from Dyson Daniels. Shout out Dyson Daniels. Just did a video on Dyson Daniels on the last post-game theory that we did here. You can go check that out over on the YouTube channel that you're all currently watching right now. By the way, if you're watching, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. It's all really helpful to help grow this channel. And by the way, there are many of you now. We're up to like 13,000 on the YouTube channel. Again, these post-game theory videos only go live here. They do not live on the podcast feed because they're all video based. So if you want to get these, make sure you subscribe. If you like the way I think about basketball, the way I talk about it, you're going to have to subscribe in order to get all of it. We also had Klay Thompson's return to Golden State tonight. I truly have no idea what happened in that game. It looks like Klay went for 22 and Luka Doncic took a bunch of shots, just kind of looking through the box score. Steph had a monster game, it looks like, but I didn't watch a second of that. I tried to focus on 2 different NBA games tonight. The first one, unsurprisingly, was Joel Embiid's debut. Anytime a former MVP debuts about 10 games into the season for a team that is truly flailing right now, you got to talk about it and break it down. And look, let's start with a big picture look at this game before we dive in and talk about the tape. So the 76ers lose this game to the New York Knicks 111-99. I've been pretty hard on the Knicks defense so far this year. I think this was probably the best game the Knicks defense played. I will also note that I think the 76ers are a team that just really plays into their hands, just because the 76ers right now, without Tyrese Maxey, the biggest thing that I just felt watching them was this overall lack of athleticism. They didn't have any speed out on the court. It felt easy to guard them. You know, as Dirty Dancer brings up in the comments, the Knicks were switching way more than they have been. That's right. And it felt like the 76ers just didn't really have any recourse to do anything about it. And that was a real issue. It was a real issue tonight. Karl Towns goes for 21 points. OG Anunoby, I think, had one of his better games of the season, if not his best game of the season, going for 24. But the key here is Joel Embiid. And Joel Embiid goes for 13 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists. But he goes 2 for 11 from the field. And we'll talk about some of the ways that he made the 76ers' life easier in half-court offense. But I also felt that he just really slowed things down a little bit too. It feels like this team does really need Tyrese Maxey there in order to get anything that is easy. Everything felt difficult. It felt like a slog for the 76ers tonight on offense. And, you can look at this a couple of different ways, right? I believe according to Synergy tonight, the 76ers, and I'm pulling this up as we look at it, got outscored in transition 28-11. And you could kind of feel that. You could feel the Knicks were having an easier time getting up and down the court. Even though they're playing guys 38 minutes a night and 40 minutes a night in the last game, it felt like the 76ers got more tired to me as well. 76ers played 9 guys at least 18 minutes tonight. The Knicks are only going 6 deep basically right now. The Knicks still felt like the fresher team to me tonight. And look, like, we're going to talk about this when we go through the tape. We're absolutely going to break down Joel Embiid tape here, and I'll pull that up now. He looked rusty. He looked like a guy that was not playing basketball at this high of a level for a while. But I was more just staggered with how slow they looked, how tired everybody else looked even, let alone just Joel Embiid. So let's just kind of dive in. I think what I want to focus on here, beyond that big picture look, is more what the 76ers ran in order to try to get Joel Embiid a little bit loose here. So this was the first set of the game, basically. Embiid's going to catch at the elbow. And they run just like a nice little backdoor play for Paul George here. So Kyle Lowry's going to inbound to Caleb Martin. Caleb Martin's going to enter this into Embiid here. We're going to have to go pink today on this court, it looks like. Going to enter this into Embiid here. And then Lowry's just going to filter in and kind of set like a pin screen here, like a little wrap pin almost. And Paul George is going to get free from Anunoby. I don't totally know what Jalen Brunson's looking at here, in all honesty. It looks like Anunoby is expecting. I mean, they're not expecting to switch that. Anunoby just kind of has to fight through. It's a hard guard. I kind of think you just have to switch that at the end of the day. And the 76ers did end up, or the Knicks, I'm sorry, the Knicks did end up switching quite a bit tonight. We'll talk about that. But, here, Embiid's just going to catch at the 3-point line. He settled a lot tonight. I don't know if he got really anything easy. It was kind of, everything looked difficult for him. And that's fine. It's obviously okay that things look difficult for him. It's his first game of the year. It's not always going to be easy. He played 26 minutes tonight. Embiid picks up in transition here. Kind of a weird defensive possession on this one. I'm just not sure what the Sixers are doing here in terms of who they're picking up. So Embiid goes to stop the ball. Really, I would just kind of like to see, I mean, this is fine. Embiid's going to stop the ball, but once Caleb Martin gets back, which he is here, you can see Caleb ends up saying, hey, you got to get back this way. Embiid just stays that extra split second longer, and it creates a long closeout onto Towns. Towns is too good with the ball in his hands to be able to stop in that circumstance. Honestly, a little bit lucky he didn't get called for a foul. I think Towns was right there. Now we're going to post. Again, we're just kind of on the block here, 10 feet away. And it just feels difficult. It feels hard. Feels like he doesn't quite have the fluidity that he typically does. Typically, Joel is a player that, can flip his hips and has this incredible footwork to be able to spin and create these little crevices. He's just a little slower right now. Towns does a good job here, basically walling up, forcing him to the baseline. Ends up getting the shot clock violation there. Next here, just an early ball screen from Embiid. Sets up here like it could be just like a Chicago or a Zoom action. But Caleb Martin doesn't actually come this way. And Embiid loses the ball. Embiid has Oubre filter through. Then gets to an empty side action with Paul George here. Ends up losing the ball again on the short roll pass here. Interesting here that the Knicks end up kind of putting 2 on the ball, basically. I don't even really think that Mikal is icing this necessarily. It just seems like they're kind of putting 2 on the ball. Typically, the Knicks are going to ice most sideline ball screens. I love the help here from Josh Hart. Gets himself there, makes himself available, forces the Embiid turnover. Just not crisp tonight. Wasn't all that crisp tonight. This is an action the 76ers ran a ton of tonight. Here, we're kind of catching it a little bit later. But either via a horn set or, via a different set, they typically had a guard come across and set this screen here. We'll get a fuller look at it in a later clip. And they would have Embiid try to get to the block by shooting across off of this screen. Does a good job here getting deep position on Towns. Look where his foot is already. Once Embiid gets his foot in the restricted area, it's just going to be really hard to deal with them. Towns has to give the foul here. Right call. But I like this action. I think it got a little bit predictable, as we'll talk about here momentarily a little bit later. But I do think it's a sharp action that you can continually run somewhat regularly to get Embiid a clean look. Defensively here, Embiid, again, side ball screen, big to small. Those can be a little bit tricky. They just decide to stay home instead of forcing anything baseline. Embiid does end up getting beat here. Honestly, a lot of the time, I would expect Towns to be able to finish this. I mean, that's a really clean look at the end of the day. Didn't really think that was a great defensive rep there from Embiid. Again, the 76ers and Embiid right now just look a little bit slow. This one was really disappointing to me defensively, in all honesty. So the 76ers did a few different things in ball screens tonight. Early on, they played in drop, very similar to this here, right? Drop's going to be that Embiid is going to retreat, and the guard here, in this case, Oubre, has to fight over the top of the screen. When you have a big who can shoot and you're in an empty side action like this, it is very difficult to leave the shooter. We talked about this in the Knicks game against the Pacers, if you remember that. You do kind of have to find a way to kind of split this difference here between the shooter popping and the ball handler. I think Embiid could stand to be a little bit further this way, even while still being able to account for Towns here. But more than anything, I mean, this reach is abysmal. That can't happen. And then if you're going to reach like this, you have to turn your head and find your man immediately. He doesn't. He just stands up, doesn't do anything. And Towns ends up getting the offensive rebound behind him for an easy putback. That's the kind of effort that just that can't happen. It's unacceptable, unfortunately. And you could say, first game back is what it is. I mean, the way that they played Embiid, I think, I'm trying to remember. I think that they had him come in with like a minute left in the first quarter, but this is only 2 minutes into the second quarter. So this is like 2 minutes here. You would expect, I think it was after a stoppage as well. You would expect that this isn't like a tired thing. This is just kind of a lazy thing, unfortunately, by Embiid. Here, gets the early matchup on Hart. He's going to keep trying to fight, scratch claw for position. Payne has to come over and foul him. Absolutely had to. Embiid lived at the foul line in this game. You know, he ends up taking 8 free throws, made all of them. Did a good job taking care of his business there, but that's the kind of stuff that works. This is the fuller version of that set we saw earlier with a cross screen on the baseline. This is a horns action. So for people who don't know horns, 2 guys at the elbows here. This is basically at the elbow for Martin. You have a man at the baseline corner on that side. Embiid is on the baseline corner this side. Lowry entries the ball into Martin. Sometimes in these sets, you can have the guard just go and shoot through very quickly and try and get an easy cut. Lowry doesn't do that here. He goes across. And now we're setting a screen here for Joel. In order to get Joel to flash across and hopefully get position for a paint touch. If they switch it, great. We've got Brunson on Joel Embiid. If not, hopefully that screen, and Kyle Lowry is a very good screener for a guard, is going to allow them just a little bit of space to be able to get to where they want to go. Embiid is just wide ass open here. He's got Towns sealed because he uses the elbow super well. He's wide open, still wide open. He can't believe it. His hands are literally up. Just like, what the fuck, man? What's going on? How can I be this open? Eventually they get him the ball. Towns has to foul him. Yeah, they're just not totally cohesive yet either. That's another issue that is occurring, unfortunately, here. Embiid again goes up. Early ball screen for Paul George. This is the kind of stuff that I think can work. Just get an early screen for PG, just right in transition here. Essentially an empty, if I remember correctly. Yep, that is an empty because you got Caleb Martin in the corner there. It's a really hard guard, especially when it's Jericho Sims. You know the Knicks are going to go under this stuff. It's a good shot. It's a really, really good shot. I like that. I think that's something that can work. I do think Embiid's presence did open some things up for the Sixers. That's one example. We'll get to another one later. Here, tries to get early position against Towns. Turnaround jumper. I mean, this is one where we just kind of can't have it this early in the third quarter. 15 seconds left on the shot clock, guys. This is a horrendous shot. You are double teamed here. That is 1, 2 players guarding you with very long arms. Fade away. I get that you're an MVP candidate. That's not the shot we want if you're a 76ers fan. Again, this is a fun little inversion on the set they ran earlier. So this time they have Embiid bring the ball up the court. This is a horn set, as you can see. George filtering to the corner. Got Lowry here. You've got another man in Caleb Martin here. I don't remember who's in the corner. Might be Kyle Lowry. Entry pass to the elbow. And again, remember how I said before, sometimes the guy who makes the entry pass and is the nominal point guard will just cut to the basket. Well, Joel here cuts to the basket. By cutting to the basket, and because there's a bit of confusion up here with Towns, who gets screened, OG Anunoby has to tag here. He's got to be here. That opens up Paul George wide ass open in the corner. Cash. So Embiid's presence, you can see the outlines of how he's creating more creative offensive sets for the 76ers. You can see how this will work when he gets into more settled game shape. Maybe you can see how this will work when the team definitely has Tyrese Maxey. That's the biggest key here, is they're going to get Tyrese Maxey back and they're going to be able to run a lot of different stuff. But obviously this was not an awesome game from Embiid just because he wasn't 100%. It didn't feel like yet. So this one, again, horns action, same deal. Instead of cutting here, this is literally the next possession. This is beautiful. Last time he did this. This time, the screen comes from Kyle Lowry. He gets Towns. Embiid shoots a three off of a flare there. So, me personally, if this is Joel Embiid, like, I would prefer he shoots this a lot quicker before Towns can get a contest on that shot. But, you know, again, you can see some creativity in what they're running here. You can see some interesting things here. Quick little flip screen. This time drills the three. Having a 5-out big man is going to open things up for them in a significant way. It's just that they looked a little bit slow tonight. Once Maxey's back, that will change. The reason I grabbed this one is because, again, I think it shows just the impact of Embiid being on the court. So he's going to set these screens here. He's going to pop. Oh, no, here's the next one. Sorry about that. So he's going to take this ball here. He's going to get two on the ball. You've got Towns and Deuce here. They have three guys over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2 Knicks players. You should have an advantage. Now Lowry ends up losing it. But again, he gets the ball. They double with Bridges. And you have two guys here for three players again. That's a long closeout for Deuce McBride. He gets driven on the closeout, forces the help from Mikal Bridges. And that's how that creates an open shot. But that stems from Embiid. That stems from Embiid taking up so much of a defense's energy. Again, to the point about this horn set getting a little bit predictable. They ran this a bunch. Again, we're going to have Lowry come all the way around, set this screen here on Towns. Now watch Deuce McBride. Deuce McBride just gets in there and tries to bump him. I mean, you guys tell me if you think, look, Deuce McBride played football. He was a good football player in Ohio. You guys tell me if you think Joel Embiid is going down on a bump there from Deuce McBride. I'm skeptical. I'm a little skeptical. I mean, just look at the extra hop step. I mean, you can see Deuce's reaction. He's just like, you fell for that? Come on, man. Come on. So this set is interesting. I grabbed this one for a very specific reason. So I really like the idea of this combination of players, Gershon Yabusele and Joel Embiid. The reason I like it is that Yabusele has turned into a real shooter. I don't know what he's shooting this year. I'll look it up while we're talking. But over his time in Europe, Yabusele has become like a 40% three-point shooter at this point in his life. So he's already shooting 43% from three this year. It feels like it when you watch him as a shooter. I love the idea of this. Here's the problem, though, with this, to me. Really, you want Yabusele being the one popping, and you want Embiid rolling. But typically, you want the first one through to roll. In the way that most teams play these, double drags, double screens at the top, whatever you want to call them, is that they will switch the first one or just like play it straight through the first one and then play drop with the second one if you have Towns or somebody like that out there. With McCain, that's not really an advantage being created for the defense. And as you can see here, there's no real advantage created here. It just turns into a contested mid-range or a 3-point jumper. I'm sorry. Will that change with Maxey? Yes, but you could just theoretically switch it if Yabusele is there instead. I would be intrigued with them, though, in the right matchups, going Embiid as the inside player here, Yabusele is the outside player, Yabusele popping to this area, and Embiid rolling to the rim. I'll be interested to see if that's an adjustment from Nick Nurse at some point. I know that you want to get the center out there on the second screen. That's kind of the goal. But I wonder if their personnel matches that necessarily well. So here, Embiid. Now I put these on here. I put a couple on here because later in the game, they started like showing and recovering with Embiid, which was not something that it's like a college basketball Tony Bennett-ass defense. I'm not totally sure I understand why we're doing this. Nice set from the Knicks, by the way, here. So just early entry here. Go down, screen, get into a dribble handoff with Jalen Brunson. Why we're showing and recovering, I don't know. Like at first I thought like Embiid might have made a mistake, but then on the next defensive possession, you're going to see that it's very clear that they were just showing and recovering at a certain point. And unfortunately, this team or this game did get away from them a little bit late. This is a nice little simple play here. Embiid feels the switch. Andy knows he has Brunson there. You can see Joel communicating. He feels he has Mikal here. He's telling, hey, get to the elbow here because he knows that they can high-low them. Instead, McCain gets to the elbow and they still high-low them. It's really sharp. It's good work. Again, so very high ball screen here. And we're showing, and now we're just like switching here. I genuinely have no idea why you would switch a screen this far away from the rim. And I think Doughton like doesn't really know what they're doing either. Like I think this was just a pure, I'm just gonna like go for this from Embiid. He's kind of freelanced here and decided I'm gonna switch. Sits down and guards him. I mean, he gets absolutely toasted and then ends up getting the foul. I mean, you can just see by the way Doughton defends it that he's expecting a switch as we get back. Like Doughton like goes around it and comes here. He's thinking, okay, we're going to switch. We're not switching this. Like you're just showing and recovering. But nope, that's not where this goes. It's not a lot of cohesion either. And that's to be expected. I mean, look at how many players. I mean, Joel has never played with, I mean, he might have played like a dozen minutes with Jeff Doughton before, but like never played with Jared McCain, never played with Yabu, right? Like this stuff's going to take some time. I mean, again, just like doesn't seem to have that same level of coordination and like suddenness that he normally has. Towns just gets up and blocks this. Yabu fights for a rebound. Good swat there from Embiid. Good weak side rotation. And finally, you know, on the defensive end, I think this is the last one. I mean, this is one where Towns just absolutely torches him, right? At first, I kind of wondered like if they're in zone, but they're not, because, and the reason you can see that they're not is you can see that Embiid here switches with Oubre, tells Oubre to come up, take Anunoby. That way he can be the low man defensively. Even though it's on Deuce. Comes over, blocks this one, but the next one, maybe this is zone. No, it's not, because George is following Anunoby. So here, Joel just kind of gets caught. Lowry gets beat here by Hart, which means George has to at least like be available to step up. Joel's arm is here. He's trying to like stay attached in some respect to Anunoby and just know where he is. And right when he does that, Towns flashes, but he needs to be available to be there. He needs to really just stay with Towns there. Gets beat, gets cooked. And then this one I put on here because this is just a really nice action. We can go empty with Paul George. Going empty with Paul George should generally work. They get to drop immediately. Towns plays drop. That's a clean look. I'm comfortable with that one finally. But overall, it was just not a great performance by the 76ers. That's okay. Like, we don't need to overreact to it. They're 2-8. That's a real problem. But the East is so bad that things are generally fine for them. I think that they're probably 4 games back of the top 2 now, something like that. So the Magic are 6-6. The Sixers are 2-8. So really only 3 games back in the loss column, 2 games back in the loss column, 3 games back overall of 3rd place in the East. They're okay. The East is just such a shit show right now that by and large, they're going to have some time to get it together and hopefully figure some things out. But really, they need Embiid to play. They need Paul George to play. They need Maxey to play and like get back. The reason for that is that this team just needs some time to play together. They need some cohesion. They need some overall just time on court together above anything else. So that's where I stand there on the 76ers. We'll see what they look like later this week and into the future with Joel Embiid. But before we get to Franz Wagner against Charlotte, we want to shout out our good friends over at PrizePicks. PrizePicks is the best place to get real money sports action with over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings. PrizePicks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. We love PrizePicks here at Game Theory because of how easy they make it to get real money sports action. If you think Justin Jefferson is going to get more than 83.5 receiving yards next week, you make your picks in less than 60 seconds, and turn your sports opinions into real money all season long over on PrizePicks. Download the app today and use the code GameTheory to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Download the app today and use that code GameTheory to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. I would not recommend using Joel Embiid anytime soon in one of your PrizePicks lineups, but PrizePicks, run your game. Tonight's show is also brought to you by Robinhood Gold. With Robinhood Gold, you don't need a silver spoon to eat up the financial favors of the 1%. Now, the resourceful individual with Robinhood Gold can earn a very liberal 4.5% APY on uninvested cash and be rewarded with a handsome 3% retirement boost on IRA account contributions. Robinhood Gold provides the privileges of the high net worth for any net worth for just $5 per month. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. Sign up at robinhood.com/gold. Terms apply. For product specific disclosures, visit robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. Rate may change. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold, LLC. Okay, let's go to that Orlando-Charlotte game now. Orlando has been a really interesting watch since Paolo has gone down. They've won their last 3 games. It is worth noting that those 3 games came against the Pelicans, the Wizards, and the Hornets. Now, the good news, they've won all 3 of those games by at least 25 points. They are obliterating the bad teams, even without Paolo. The main reason for that right now is Franz Wagner. Franz Wagner has been a monster since he has gotten over that illness, whatever it was. I think it was a little bit more than a cold, but he was sick for a minute here. Franz Wagner, in his last 5 games, has scored at least 22 points. He's been up over 23 in his last 4 games. And tonight, he went for 32. He is the main cog in the Orlando offense. And he's still doing it pretty efficiently, in all honesty. But more than anything, he's doing so as the number 1 option for Orlando on a team that just does not have a lot of other options offensively. Jalen Suggs has been really good too. I'm sure we'll do a video on Jalen Suggs at some point to break down how good he has been recently. But more than anything, it feels like to me Franz Wagner is the one that's stirring the drink here in regard to winning basketball. He only played 32 minutes tonight. This was a blowout by the 4th quarter. Didn't even really come back. I think he might have played a little bit at the start of the 4th, but was not there late in the 4th for sure. I can tell you that. And I think where I want to kind of start as much as anything is just note that I've had some questions about the structure of Orlando's offense through the season, especially since Paolo went down. So much of their offense is built on creating mismatches for Paolo and just kind of letting it roll. But since Paolo has been out, they've been running a little bit more creative movement-based actions in order to get Franz the ball. And I've really liked it. I've really enjoyed it. I think he is a very real all-star candidate this season. It will, I don't know if I want to predict it, but I might, honestly. I think Franz Wagner probably makes the all-star game this year. He's going to be huge for Orlando while Paolo is out. And a lot of the other guys in the East right now are just not there, frankly. I mean, you can look through the teams, right? Giannis will make it. I think Franz has been better than Dame to this point. I think Franz has probably been better than Evan Mobley. will certainly make it over Donovan Mitchell. Or Donovan Mitchell will certainly make it over him, rather. The Celtics will at least get 2, maybe 3. The Knicks, I would say Towns and Brunson probably will get there. But other than that, I mean, I would anticipate this is LaMelo and Trey for sure. Cade Cunningham probably gets there. But the window is very open for Franz to be an all-star this year. And here's why. We'll dive into the tape now and run through why he has been as good as he's been. He goes for 32 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists tonight, has 3 steals. Overall, has just been excellent for the Orlando Magic since he has gotten fully healthy. He is up to 34% from 3 this year. Look, if he can live in that 34 to 36% range, that is huge. That's absolutely huge because it means teams are going to have to at least pay attention to him out there. Okay. So our first action here, literally right after the tip-off, Goga wins it. And we're running just like it almost looks like it's setting up to be a Spain, but Suggs exits early here. Goga takes like kind of a wide trajectory on his roll here. I think he's like kind of assuming that Suggs is going to try and catch a defender here again for him to get an even freer roll to the rim. But Franz just calmly stops, turns around, and gets this open mid-range jumper. He has been awesome from the mid-range so far this year. Again, second possession here. Very similar set. In fact, I think it's basically the same set. As you can see, why I thought it was a stack or a Spain action here is because whereas Suggs last time exited early, this time he's actually going to try and get contact here with Taj and create an exchange on the back end in addition to the exchange that's happening up top with just the drop coverage on the screen overall. Taj ends up kind of getting high, able to throw up the lob here to Goga. Goga very easily could have gotten Franz a 6th assist there, but just misses the shot. Again, this is the kind of stuff that just works to me, right? Third possession. Now we get into a more traditional stack pick and roll, right? So everything here is building off of itself. The first possession was an early exit stack from Jalen Suggs. The second possession is almost like a more traditional stack where Suggs is going to go behind Goga, get a mini little rub screen on Taj, and then go out to the wing. The third one here is a stack pick and roll where Goga is going to set a screen, and now Suggs is going to come down this way, and Caldwell Pope is going to come up, set a screen, and then pop out to the top of the three-point line. So I just like how all of these actions are building upon themselves. Even though he misses this shot, I like that they're doing things that structurally make sense. And also, this is just a nasty behind the back dribble. Stop behind the back. He's so big and long that he can get shots at the basket a little bit easier than what you think. Misses that one. But again, I love what we're doing here. This is just sick. You know, again, 2 minutes into the game, we're picking up LaMelo Ball. LaMelo Ball, by the way, was absolutely sick in this game. He's been fantastic to start this season. Very few players have been as hot as LaMelo has been. He goes for 35 in this game. I don't want to diminish what LaMelo did in this game. He was just really, really great. But, I mean, just look, Franz has him locked up. Now they're going to ask for like a potential little screen. Instead, Grant Williams tries to go to the free throw line to post up Suggs. Terrible idea. Truly just a bad idea because Jalen Suggs I mean, if he doesn't have the best hand-eye coordination in the NBA, he's certainly among the top 10 defensively. So what do we got here? Just a quick little empty side ball screen into a lob for Goga Bitadze. It's almost like it's almost like a chinish kind of thing where you're going to have Suggs filter through, Goga go there, and then Franz is going to take the ball screen and just try and draw the defender. And this is how Franz is seeing this, right? So he's going here. As soon as he sees Diabate take this step right here, get his shoulders this way, get his momentum going this way, he knows he's got Goga on this lob. Immediately goes up. Goga finishes it. Rebound here from Franz. And I just love how we're collapsing the defense in transition, taking multiple guys here. So we get this play here. I'm not totally sure what Diabate is doing, given that Grant Williams is there to help at the rim already. This is a same side help. This is bad. This is very bad from Diabate. Leads to the help over this way. And Jalen Suggs wide ass open from three. That's why helping same side is such a bad idea, especially when you've already got help at the rim. So this is just disgusting from Anthony Black. I mean, I'll talk. I do just want to show this from Black here. Anthony Black this is a pure double drag here. Transition. Curry and Diabate. And just look at AB fight through this screen. Just look at him fight through, get back. And get all the way there. And he saves it to get the transition play going. Ball gets up to Franz Wagner. Finishes at the rim. AB has been such a big help for them. He's been a huge lift for the Orlando Magic off the bench this year. Wagner realizes, hey, I've got Seth Curry. I'm going to go in and post him. Diabate helping. Franz realizes Diabate's helping on the left or on his right. He knows he's got the left. He's going to be able to create a shot. Ends up getting the foul. Just a little screen there from his brother Mo. And again, just a 6-step back. This is the self-creation stuff. This is all in the first quarter, by the way. Franz is really becoming a high-level self-creator. I mean, just a nasty little step back there. Drills it. Franz sat out for the next 5 minutes after the first quarter ended. Got the switch onto Diabate. Realizes the shot clock's winding down. Drills the three there. If he can hit that shot, I mean, he's definitely an all-star. Here, now we've got Franz again. I mean, just look at the flexibility. He knows that he's pumped. He sees what he did here. This is sick. So he's got Brandon Miller here. I love how he's setting him up already. So hang dribble, cross, pound dribble, picks it up, Euro steps around Brandon Miller into the finger roll. That is sick. He knows it. He knows that he just created a highlight. Look at him flexing. He didn't even dunk and he's flexing. Here, switch on to LaMelo. Diabate, again, just helping. I get it that this is a mismatch, but I mean, you are helping way too far there, sir. Maybe this is part of the defensive structure and calculus that they were good leaving Franz Wagner open. I'm certainly willing to hear that out. If somebody wants to make that case, I'm not going to sit here and definitely crush Diabate. And look, he fights back. He gets out to the 3-point line on the closeout to at least get a late closeout. But Franz is seeing it. He's seeing the court well. He's spraying the ball out. Could have had many more assists than what he ended up with. Now we're here. Mid-post ISOs. And now we're just drilling Dirk fadeaways. This is what it looks like when someone makes a lead. This is what it's supposed to look like. Again, same action as, what was that? The earlier possession, kind of that chinny-ish action where entry passer goes through, screen here. Theoretically, Suggs can go around. Instead, Wagner stops here, gets the mid-post ISO. They know to back away. 9 seconds left on the shot clock. Hits that little rocker step. I mean, just very clearly learned this from his guy Dirk in Germany. So obvious. And by the way, Cody Martin's a good defender, but Franz Wagner's 6'9", 6'10". If he's going to get guarded by wings, that's a shot that can be lethal for Franz Wagner, given how good he is in the mid-range. Just awesome defensive anticipation there. Dunk, throw down, little ghost screen. He sees that LaMelo's trying to come back. I would wonder if he's seen that on tape before, potentially, that he knows that LaMelo's going to try and insert that ball and then come back around for a DHO early three. Again, same action as the last Dirk fadeaway. Empty side ISO. Hits him with that little hang dribble cross and gets all the way to the rim. So he's just beating these dudes in every imaginable way now. I love this set, by the way, too. Got KCP coming up. It looks like Mo and Suggs are just going to kind of vacate and leave this just one-on-one in an ISO with an empty side of the court. But instead of just doing that, both of them come here to set a screen for Caldwell Pope to shoot through and give them another option, potentially, if someone breaks down. And then Mo's going to set another screen here, and Suggs is going to come around almost for like a split-ish action. I would imagine that this is in the split family for what it's worth. It's not quite the way that you typically get to a split action, is why I don't know that I necessarily want to call it that. But it's not dissimilar. Typically, the split action is going to go, insert the ball here, entry passer goes away, and then you're going to have somebody come here. But instead, they shoot Caldwell Pope through, have Suggs kind of shoot it back around this way. I love the action. Again, they're just getting way more movement to me. Franz does it anyway. He does it by himself, but they just look way cleaner on offense right now than they have. Quick little horns action. Franz gets to his mid-range spot. So horns. Early screen there from Batadze. Franz comes across here to take the screen. What are you hoping for? Maybe a switch. Franz comes across here, then sets this screen so that Suggs can potentially get a cut. How do the Hornets defend it? They switch it. So now you've got Martin on Wagner, and we've seen how that goes throughout the second quarter. I mean, so much of this is in the first half just because he absolutely cooked them in the first half and barely had to play in the second half. It's not true. He played like almost the whole third quarter, but didn't have to play much in the fourth. Just another empty side, mid-range jumper, drills it. Shoots right up over the top of Grant Williams. Grant Williams is a good defender. He's physical, but he's not big enough to contest it. He's just not big enough to contest it. Now, Suggs up. Three-pointer. Cash. Wagner. Weak side here. Three-pointer isn't always there. I think he tends to be better on his three-pointer. If you look how he sets up here. Right, left footwork, right? So the right foot's down. He's stepping into it with his left. I think Franz tends to be better when he can take it off the hop or take it where momentum is going toward the rim. Inherently, when you're going right, left footwork, your foot is kind of going away from the basket here, right? That means your momentum is kind of going away from the rim. And what the result is on that is that shot just feels a little flat, right? And then this one is the last one. I mean, the Orlando broadcast, my God, guys. I get it that Paolo is important to your organization. Can we maybe not cut the screen in half for a full quarter when the game is like around a double digit, like 10-point game? I'm not asking a lot. So ball screen does a great job here. Hostage dribble, keeping Martin on his back. His brother Mo setting this little seal screen here onto the big. And the result now is that you've got Tidjane Salaam essentially in a 1-on-2 where he's got a guard in an immense, crazy amount of space. Wagner sees it, gets it out to Jonathan Isaac, who drills the three. It's perfect. It's really good offense tonight from Orlando. Not only did Franz have it going, Franz going, 32 points on 25 shots or whatever, 14 for 25. 8 rebounds, 5 assists. The offensive structure looked better. It looked cleaner. It looked easier for everybody involved. Really good. Really, really good, I thought. Really strong from the Orlando Magic. Before we get to Wemby, though, just a quick note. From our good friends over at Duer, my Duer jeans that I own are the most comfortable piece of clothing that I have. I have been wearing these things basically anywhere I have to go leave the house, I feel like. If I have to go to a basketball game like I did when I went to see Melbourne United play Perth, went to see Ben Henschel, went to see Ethan Almanza, went to see Chris Golding. Shout out Chris Golding. I wore my Duer jeans because they are just the most versatile, relaxed, comfortable piece of clothing that is also stylish that I own. Duer has us covered for the colder winter months with fabrics like a fireside denim, which is interwoven with fleece, or the all-weather denim that features a wind and weatherproof membrane soft shell. Across the board, Duer's denim is a versatile and comfortable enough jean that you can wear all day. It's antibacterial, which means you're not going to have to wash it as much. And it's made of temperature regulating fabrics for moisture management. Plus, these clothes are sustainably crafted to last, so they're going to be a staple in my closet for years. Check out Duer's flagship stores in LA or Denver, or shop online at shopduer.com/game theory. Right now, my listeners are going to get 20% off your first purchase when you use my exclusive URL at shopduer.com/game theory. It's an awesome deal. That's 20% off at shopduer.com/game theory. Guys, I can't emphasize this enough. This is a sponsor that I truly love. I truly, truly love my Duer jeans. Please go support Duer and go buy some of their jeans. They are incredibly comfortable. Our last sponsor for the evening are our good friends over at Mando. It's that magic time of year. Football season's in full swing and the NBA season's tipping off. So whether you're tailgating for Sunday's big game or cheering courtside for the beginning of the NBA season, you're going to need a game day essential, Mando's whole body deodorant. Mando is a key part of traveling to games because, let's face it, when you're stressing over a last second shot or a nail biting third down, you're going to sweat. Mando's got me covered with its powerful 72-hour odor control. It's safe to use all over, and that means from your pits to your feet and every spot in between. Mando comes in 3 formats: invisible spray, solid stick, and cream. So there's something for everyone. And here's the play. New customers are going to get $5 off the starter pack with code Game Theory at shopmando.com. That's shopmando.com with the code Game Theory. It's perfect for gearing up for the season or getting a last-minute stocking stuffer. So don't let your body odor keep you on the sidelines. Smell better with Mando. Use the code Game Theory at shopmando.com for $5 off that starter pack, and tell them that we sent you. Okay. The last NBA thing I want to talk about here before we get to Cooper Flagg is just the idea of process over results for Victor Wembanyama. I would say Victor had his best game of the night, or best game of the season so far, last night against Sacramento. The Spurs win this game 116-96. Really, really impressive win. And Wembanyama goes for 34 points on 13 for 22 shooting, 14 rebounds, 6 assists, and 3 blocks. He was a monster. Controlled the game. Did a great job on the interior. Held Domantas Sabonis to 23 shots on 19 field goal attempts. Sabonis did not get to the foul line last night. He turned the ball over 4 times. He had 5 fouls. Wemby was really, really, really good last night. And I don't want to underemphasize that. He's already probably a top 30 player in the league. If the 3 is like really falling like it was last night, there probably aren't 10 better players in the league. But there's still just something missing when I watch him. And it's largely that, again, we're going to talk about this a little bit with Cooper Flagg and with the Duke-Kentucky game. Everything feels harder than it has to be on offense with Wemby. And part of that is the Spurs basically refuse to play him with guys who can space the court, like consistently having 4 guys around him that can space and shoot. He's almost always got somebody like Steph Castle out there, or, Keldon Johnson can shoot, but Keldon's more prone to slashing and driving. Blake Wesley might be out there sometimes, and he doesn't really get guarded. We're almost there. If they just start Devin Vassell and play him a majority of his minutes with Wemby in these starters, I do think that there is a real chance that he's going to start to be more effective on his drives, which then will solve a lot of the issues I'm going to talk about. But it does just feel like he settles a lot. I think that his average shot distance right now, and I can look this up while we're talking, is something like 15 feet away from the rim. 16 feet away from the rim. It's just very, very far for a guy that is 7'4". And I don't mean to get on my high horse here and be like, oh my God, like he really needs to get his ass on the block and shoot and everything like that. Like, that's not totally what I'm saying here. But I do think that there is some space here for Victor to try to get to the basket more often. And some of the things we're going to talk about here are issues in regard to him getting closer to the rim. It's not wildly easy for him. And of course, as soon as I try to find like average shot distance on Daryl Blackport's awesome site, play-by-play stats, I can only find it by average 2-point shot distance and average 3-point shot distance. But by the way, his average 3-point shot distance is 26.5 feet. So he's taking threes from like 3 feet behind the line for the most part, not just like right at the 3-point line. And he's not taking a ton of like crazy corner threes. Like he's taking deep threes for the most part. So we'll just kind of talk through it. I mean, he was great last night, but I wonder about the process versus the results a little bit. It feels like he doesn't have just like a go-to move yet. And I think that this can be overstated from time to time. But he does need something that he can rely on more consistently in order to get a shot. And part of this is he's just so skinny right now that it's hard for him to establish position. So on this one, we're going to see a spin backward. Sabonis just shoves him out to the 3-point line here. Like he's all the way out here. Look where he starts this possession after this spin. I mean, after the spin, realistically, he's here. He has a foot in the lane. And then Sabonis just pushes him out. And look, he just absolutely drills this shot over Sabonis because his high release point makes it easier for him to shoot over the top of even 7-footers. But it's hard. These are hard things to do. He gets kind of a potential mismatch here, and then Sabonis gets him. See, this is smart to me. This is where he can live, I think. And this is just a really great read, in my opinion. But little things like this, where he goes, acts like he's going to post Sabonis. You get a baseline drive here from the wing and flash up to the middle. This doesn't involve him having to establish position. Doesn't involve him having to like maintain position against Sabonis. I love actions like this for Wembanyama. This is the kind of stuff that I think can be effective for him. And this is just awesome. This pass is incredible to me. Him making these reads already is huge. He realizes the pass is a little bit behind him, but I think he sees that Keegan Murray has come in here. And so he just immediately shoots this out before he even lands. And that's a perfect shot. Look, process-wise, that's good. Like, I'm very comfortable with him doing that. But now we're going to get into just him taking threes now. This three, I don't have a problem with, to be clear. This is a trailer three in rhythm, wide ass open. Perfect. I'm good with that. That makes all the sense in the world to me to take and make that shot. This one, I'm a little bit more hesitant. It goes. But this is like a real contest here. And Wemby at this point, he's a solid shooter. He's a good shooter for a big, but I would not say he's a great shooter. Like, he is a 32% three-point shooter last year, 31% so far this year. We will see if that continues to improve. But to this point in his career, he hasn't been a great shooter to be taking contested transition three-pointers 17 seconds left on the shot clock. It goes, but I don't know about the process there. Here, I mean, this is just him being absolutely sick on defense again. You know, even though he struggles in general to maintain his position on offense, I think he actually does a great job of getting low on defense and taking bumps. Like, Sabonis doesn't own him here. Like, he does a great job here of getting his hands out, taking this bump, slowing him down, getting his legs bent. Like, that's a pretty good base for him to be able to live. And then ball ends up going out on Sabonis. But that's what makes him such a good defender. A, the length, obviously, and the timing and the second jump. And we'll see an unbelievable second jump, I think, on this possession. But, I mean, this is just insane here. You know, in drop, falls for the pump fake, but it doesn't matter because the second jump is so fast and he's so freaking long that he can spin and second jump and swat this shot. I'm going to be honest, I don't know if I've ever seen that before. Fall for the pump fake, and then he's able to land on balance, get his legs underneath him, and then go back up. That's insane. It's totally insane to me. Another early screen. This is the one that I did not like at all. My dude, you are 17 seconds left on the shot clock. This is 31 feet. Probably something like that. 30, probably 31 feet from the rim. That's not the shot that I want. I get it that you know the Kings are going to be playing in drop. I wonder if Mitch Johnson kind of told him coming into the game, hey, this is a shot you can get. But they aren't really even that deep in drop. I don't love that shot. That's the kind of stuff that I would like to see him excise a little bit. So here, goes to get the ball. And he's just loose with it right now. We'll talk about this when we talk about Cooper Flagg. Cooper's also a bit loose with it. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that just can't really happen. I don't know why he felt like he could spin here. Can't keep the ball in his left hand while he's on that side of the court in a post up. It just can't happen, really. And look, he's a turnover prone player right now. He's averaging 3.6 turnovers per game. I think he averaged like 3.8 last year. Here, I like that he feels like he has the mismatch there against McDermott. Goes to the high post. Feels that the help man here comes forward. And that I like that he's reading this player. I think it's great that he's reading this guy. He thinks that DeRozan is going to come up. Instead, though, DeRozan reads his eyes like a book and just goes and gets the ball. But I like that is process that I do like from Victor. Reading this player is good. It's just a skill thing here, right? Hit a pass fake. Maybe just kick it out here. That will come. That I'm not worried about. If he's seeing this player already, it's going to be fine. But I like that he's seeing that player, even if this one results in a turnover. Here, again, posts up Keegan Murray. I like that he feels the help come again, right? The Kings feel like this is a mismatch. So DeMar comes, digs down on the ball. Not a bad idea against a turnover-prone player for the most part, but I like that he sees it. And I like that he feels it. The fact that he's feeling this already is good. Again, feels the mismatch onto Keon Ellis. Goes and gets the ball, chucks it back out. Eventually, they're going to get a Sandro 3. Offensive rebounding can be super helpful for him. He's so big, but I like the pass out, the kick out. Here, again, offensive rebound. This time just goes up and finishes it himself. Can be so big. Can be so critical for him. He should get 4 to 6 points off the glass easily per game. Rebound, grab and go, and I hate this. I don't care that it goes in. I hate it. Like he is not a good enough shooter to pull up from 30 feet yet in transition. He's just not. This is where the process gets bad. This is where I don't love the process. Like Mr. TD calls this a bailout shot. I don't even think this is a bailout. I just think it's a bad shot. They have 19 seconds left on the shot clock. I hate it. I don't want it. So fun set here. Again, trying to get that ISO empty side of the court. Pump fake here. I mean, look. Didn't go. Bad shot, right? Keegan Murray's a really good defender, and Keegan Murray has gotten most of his plaudits and rightful plaudits for being a perimeter defender to this point. He was a great post defender at Iowa because he's so strong and physical. Has a really strong torso and chest. He can do this. If he can make this shot at some point, if you feel like he can't become a player that always establishes position, okay, I'm fine with saying that. I don't mind this as an idea for him, given that he is 7'4" with an 8-foot wingspan, as something of a go-to shot against a mismatch situation like Keegan Murray, who is 6'7", 6'8", not crazy length, but some length, like 7-foot wingspan. He probably has like an 8'7", 8'8" standing reach. I don't mind this if this is an idea that he has, even maybe as a counter. But this needs to be something that you work on at an elite level in the offseason. Like, this is a hard ass shot. Maybe you can get to the point where, like, this can be your version of a skyhook, something like that, right? I don't mind the idea, though. He needs something like this. Maybe it's this shot. Maybe it's something else. Maybe it is just like a pure skyhook. Who knows? But something like this doesn't bother me necessarily. It's not a good shot right now. I don't think he can make it consistently right now. But this idea of this shot is interesting to me. Next one. I mean, again, we're so many of these made threes just like are bad process shots to me that drive me insane. Again, 29 feet from the rim. 15 seconds left on the shot clock. I mean, if you just want to get them the reps, like, okay, it's fine. I mean, the team's not going to be a playoff team in all likelihood this year, but they are sitting here at 5-6 now. They're probably going to be 6-6 because they play the Wizards next game. I mean, he's really good. Like, they're an awesome defense. It feels like because of him. I don't know. I don't like the process. I don't. I keep saying that over and over again, but like, it just keeps showing up. So again, they decide to empty it out. Trey Lyles this time on Wemby. I like that he just passes over the top. Again, being as big as he is, obviously Jordan McLaughlin just falls here, but like, he can just throw this over most defenders. He should be like an awesome passer. And I think he's actually going to be. That's why I brought up the other one where he turned the ball over. The fact that he's seeing the court this way, I think is going to make him like a really high level passer at some point. And he has the ability to create angles like that nobody else can really create. It's kind of what makes Jokic such a good, part of what makes Jokic beyond everything else an unbelievable passer is he has unbelievable hands. He has enormous hands, and he's able to create different angles in creative ways for people. So this one, screen and roll. Offensive rebound. Great. Hey, let's do more of this. Let's live in this world for a minute. I'm into this. Screen. Shake pass backward or hit Wemby. One or two. Depends on what the tag defender does there. Chris Paul's a genius. He sees Keegan Murray. Understand that he has to tag here. He has to go in here. Live in this world. Like, this is a world that you can absolutely thrive in, I think. If that's Devin Vassell instead of Steph Castle over there, now we're cooking with gas a little bit. But this is good process to me. I love this, even though, look, he goes up, gets the rebound over Sabonis, finishes. But like, that's great offense to me. I want to see that more. Let's do it. Again, pick and pop here. Tries to set up Sabonis. His handle isn't quite strong enough to break guys down off the bounce yet. Doesn't play with enough bend. Doesn't really have the ability to like control the ball in the way he needs to if he wants to get into space, right? Which is what he's trying to do there. This one just takes a charge. Here, we're in just like essentially a horns, right? That's where this is going to go. Yep, horns. Flash out from Castle. Entry pass to Barnes. And again, it's basically the same set we saw the Sixers run for Embiid, right? So Chris Paul entry. Going to go around to the corner here, set a screen. Wemby's going to flash middle. This is a set that we can live with, right? Again, getting him on the move where he can be mobile and get his mobility advantage on other bigs, that's the world I want to live in, especially without the ball. So again, corner, similar play, but a counter off of it this time, right? So Chris Paul goes, acts like he's going to set the screen, but instead we get into what could be like a middle Chicago, middle zoom. Suboptimal. Now, like 7 seconds left on the shot clock, 9 seconds left when he decides to take it. You do have Chris Paul here asking for the ball, but that's a cloudy window. Herder's there. The other thing that's open here is his head's down. Like you can literally just see his head's down here. I mean, that's where we want to live. We want to find Steph Castle wide open. He's a big, like, I don't want to, but if you're going to run these kind of middle Chicago-y actions, kind of got to see those things, right? Not a great rep. Just not a great process decision-making rep, right? Forget the air ball. Just overall, the process was not great there. This one I put on here just because you can see the impact of his rim protection so abundantly. So he's on Sabonis here. He knows that he can fly off of Sabonis. Teams are comfortable leaving Sabonis open from three. Herder drives and is just like, nope, I'm not doing this. Not against that guy. Tries to kick it out. Castle gets the steal. Ends up being a layup for Champagny. We'll kind of zoom through these last few things. I feel like I've made my point on the process here. Sorry, I forgot that this play was here. Again, I would just love to see him roll more often. Awesome set. Like, awesome set. What they're doing here to get into this. Man flying up here. Entry pass here. Then replacing in the corner. All while Wembanyama is coming up to set a screen diagonally. And Keldon Johnson is coming here for like a little mini exchange that way. Vassell takes the screen. Perfect pocket pass. Like, again, just stop popping. Don't stop popping, but do it less often. These are the shots that he can create. These are the easy opportunities. I mean, again, just the threat of him as a shot blocker is ridiculous. And then the actual contest as well. Look how many turndowns this is just around the rim, right? So 1 turn down, 2 turn downs. And then the contest at the basket. And then the rebound. Just ridiculous. Like totally ridiculous. He is such an impactful rim protector in every way. Again, now we're going to go get another offensive rebound. Tips it out. Going to get it himself this time. Drills his 6th three, maybe his 5th three there. I mean, this is just like the craziest play of the night for me. I have no idea what Wemby is doing here. On some level, we're just like exploring the studio space. Shout out Bruce Dickinson. But like, does he try to go behind the back here to split this? I think he does. I mean, like he's just not a good enough ball handler to be doing this. It's kind of the thing. I get that we're exploring the studio space here. We're having some fun. We're up 14. But we got to know our limits a little bit too. And like, you don't want to put limitations on Victor, but I feel comfortable saying that on a play where a split isn't even there, really, in my opinion. And I get why he goes for it, because DeMar just goes for the ball. He shoots this, right? And he feels like he has to do something. He's just kind of in no man's land. He thinks he gets fouled, I guess, maybe. Like he has his arms up there, kind of wondering what's going on. But yeah, like just this is a pick six, essentially. You can't let those things become pick sixes. That was honestly, forget the 3-pointers. That was the play where I was like, okay, this is batshit. What are we doing here? But then again, like, we're going to get to him on defense here again. And we're just swatting the shit out of De'Aaron Fox. Right. And now, again, we're seeing these passes. Like, I think he has better vision than what he did last year. I think he has better vision. I think he has better instincts. This is awesome. You can see him literally looking at this defender and knowing that Mamu is open over here. Shout out Sandro. And then this one, screen into a rescreen. Again, we're rolling. See, that's a shot. I'm fine with mid-range jumpers if they're in rhythm like that. This is awesome. And I honestly, I know there was a lot made of Chris Paul getting there, and I think Chris Paul's been helpful for them. I don't want to say otherwise. Like, just having like a real adult around is useful. I think he has better chemistry by and large so far with Vassell already than what he's had with Chris Paul. I think that they just kind of know how to play off of each other a little bit better. This one drills it. And they've played for a year already, so that it would make sense that that would be true. Chris Paul hits him with the behind the back pass this time. Again, drills the pick and pop. And then finally, we're here at the free throw line. And for everything I said throughout this video on not wanting him as much on the perimeter, this is kind of a perfect encapsulation of what having a spacing center can do. So he comes out. He realizes as soon as Sabonis is out there, it's better for him to space to the corner. You're going to see here that these two are going to get confused onto whether or not they're going to peel switch this and account for Wemby in the corner, or if they're going to guard Chris Paul going to the rim. If this is Domantas Sabonis in the corner here, this defender just comes up. Lyles recovers. Nobody really cares, right? But because Wemby is a real shooter, at least in some respect, and has made 6 threes at this point in this game, there's a confusion on whether or not we're going to peel switch it, and Chris Paul gets a wide open layup, basically. So for everything I just said, that's the value. But I think the Spurs could play it a little bit better. I think the Spurs could find different ways to get him into those areas. And I think he needs to be more willing to roll to the rim. And maybe it is as simple as him playing more often with Vassell. We'll see him roll to the rim a little bit more often. But man, it's just a little bit harder than what it has to be. It's a little bit harder than what it has to be right now for Victor. Okay. Last thing we're going to talk about here today. Cooper Flagg. Shout out Cooper Flagg, baby. Cooper Flagg goes for 26 and 12 rebounds with 2 assists and 2 blocks in Duke's Champions Classic loss to the Kentucky Wildcats. Goes 9 for 19 from the field, gets to the line a ton, as you'll see when we go through this tape. Kentucky wins this game. So let's give Kentucky some flowers first before we talk about Duke. I thought Mark Pope outcoached Shire like pretty drastically in this game. I just want to start with that, and we just want to say it in the open. Like, it's okay. We can say these things. And largely it was due to process versus results, I would say. In general, it felt like Kentucky's process for creating its 3-pointers and creating its offense was drastically better than Duke's. On top of it, I felt like Duke's offense was too stagnant, and I felt like when Cooper was on the court, everything was too catered toward him getting isolation possessions when he's not good enough to really do this super consistently against good teams yet. You can give him isolation reps in isolation possessions. You can't have him do it all the time. And it felt like that was their primary option throughout the course of this game. And yet, I can't help but look at this game by and large and be immensely excited about Cooper Flagg. Because the thing you have to remember about this is that he was playing a Kentucky team where I think every starter is at least 21 years old, depending on how old Otigo Away is. He's a junior, but Jackson Robinson, Lamont Butler, Amari Williams, Andrew Carr. Like, these dudes are all older players. Like, Kobe Brea is a senior. Kirk Kriisa has been around forever. Ansley Almoner is like a senior. I think he's a super senior, if I remember correctly. There are so many older players on this Kentucky team, and Cooper did this at 17. He is like 5 and 6 years younger than these dudes, and he just cooked them for 26 and 12. I think that we need to start there with that context before we get into some of the flaws in the way he ended the game, right? He is 5 and 6 years younger than these dudes, and he was the best player on the court tonight. That says a lot about who he is. And to me, he is still very clearly, even though they lost this game and he turns it over twice at the end, very clearly the guy. But I will again note, I thought Kentucky and Mark Pope were so organized in terms of the sets they were running in order to create shots, despite the fact that they don't really have a phenomenal offensive creator. Like, Kirk Kriisa goes 2 for 9 in this game. Jackson Robinson goes 0 for 4 in this game. Lamont Butler is like a defensive specialist more than anything. Otigo Away is like a driving downhill force. Like, Kentucky does not have some incredible primary creator like a Con Knipple or a Cooper Flagg or anything like that. And they still found a way to create shots in a really impactful way. And that was mostly based off of their offensive execution in their sets. Duke, on the other hand, did not do that. So let's just kind of jump in and talk about what Cooper did in this game. So first and foremost, Cooper Flagg is guarding Andrew Carr, who I believe is that's his matchup for most of the game. Andrew Carr, I think, is like a super senior who's probably 23 years old. Like I will look at this while we're talking, but I mean, he has been around forever at this point. He is 22 right now, turns 23 in February. So about 5 years older than Cooper. He is really good. Like he was CAA player at Delaware. He was really good at Wake Forest last year. Kind of a spacing 6'11" big. Will be a long-term pro overseas. Like really, really good overseas pro. Guarding Andrew Carr here. And again, Carr has a size advantage on him. I mean, I just love the way he's active here. Stands him up. Gets the contest. Great post defense there from Cooper, right? Next. Quick little weave into a backdoor set. This is Duke's first offensive possession of the game. We can draw it up real quick. Cooper's going to go set this screen for Knipple. Then he's going to have Malawak set a screen for him to come around. Flips it back. And you can just see Knipple kind of sneaking around here, and bam. Back screen here for Cooper. He has absolutely no idea. I think that's away. Has no idea what's coming. That's a good set. That's an awesome set to get Cooper Flagg an easy dunk. Next. Knipple kind of loses control here. Flagg just settles it down. Drives, gets fouled. 2 points there. You know, and here we get a look at the shot mechanics, right? So kind of a funky looking shot. Left dribble. Pretty good balance. Pretty good lower half involvement. Kind of a funky release at the top. Ends up just a little right. Malawak gets the offensive rebound, scores. But this is why people question if Cooper is going to be a shooter or not. He goes 1 for 5 for 3 in this game. Kind of a funky finish on the shot there. And Malawak again, good offensive rebound. Crossover here from Cooper. I mean, again, the thing is that like I grabbed all of these sets. Like he's just bringing the ball. Who is this? This is Caleb Foster's just bringing the ball up the court here and kicking it to Cooper and then just like setting a ghost screen that nobody falls for. And then we go pound dribble, left to right crossover, going to his right, realigning in midair. Good balance. This is the stuff that he got way better at as a senior at Montverde last year. Again, just like a simple action here into a very simple ball screen from, I think that's Sion James. They switch it. He ends up getting fouled, but he has a really good feel. He has like an NBA style feel for how guys are reaching and using their body here. He feels the reach and knows that he can spin. Good spin move. Just gets fouled. Here. Again, just one screen, no movement. Makes the shot. It's good. It's good if you make it, right? But one screen. Whole lot of standing around after that. I love the jump step here. Kobe Bryant is not a great defender. He's like maybe the best shooter in the country, so he might get drafted next year in 2025. But Cooper's just too big and too strong for him already. He's just able to get to the rim with ease. Here, empty side. Again, not much in the way of action. Brea gets him this time, but just not much in the way of action. He's being asked to create everything here. Flagg, again, wide open three. Help up. This is one that he's going to have to make. You can even see the ball just has like kind of funky rotation on it. If you're able to see just like the darkness. I don't know if you guys can there. And it's a little bit robotic, a little too motiony. I'm going to be interested to see who the first person is that does not have Cooper Flagg at number 1, just because of the shot. I have my suspicions on who it'll be, but I'll share that maybe at a different time. So here, what are we running here? A screen here that does absolutely nothing to get Cooper on the block. If you're going to run this and you want this switch, Caleb Foster has to stay attached here and force the switch. That's just execution. He gets fouled again on the double, this time from Garrison, but like, I don't like that. I don't like that process. Here, just out in transition. Runs the court. Super athlete, obviously. Just an incredible, incredible athlete. Just look at him gallop. He's not even at full speed, really, and he's just getting up and down. Easy lay-in. Now we're into the second half. I think he had 14 maybe in the first half. Here we go, second half. There's just no... I'm sorry that I'm doing this. Okay. So there's never more than one thing happening at a time with this Duke offense. It feels like there's never more than a couple of people moving. So there's this single back screen here to get Kneppel, and Kneppel feels it, and he honestly probably should have gotten this ball. But Caleb Foster is, somewhere else. So now they reverse it, and now they get into an just ball screen offense, right? And now we're just taking the shot from Cooper Flagg. I would prefer that he probably tries to drive here, I guess. But B, like the driving lanes in college, this is not like an NBA court. I hope that you guys are noticing just how much more condensed a college court is than an NBA court after having watched like all of these possessions back to back. Look, if he can make that shot, he is a top 10 player in the league at some point. I mean, he's a really good defender and he is creative with the ball, as you guys will see, but he's not quite there yet at being able to make that shot. This one gets it wide open this time. Again, that's one that's just got to fall. I think the ball comes out just a little bit flat, in all honesty. Like, that's just flat. He can work on that. I think that he will probably shoot it reasonably well at some point, but here you get the switch. I mean, this is just like such a good possession to watch how freaking smart this guy is on offense, or on defense. I'm sorry. So he's starting this possession on Carr here, number 7. Switches this onto away. Away then front cuts him. And he has no problem with that because he knows he can go get this shot. So he just goes up and swats the hell out of it. Just the processing, the quick thinking, the positioning. He's really good at all that stuff. Really, really sharp beyond his years for a 17-year-old. This one, though, is actually quite poor. He makes the mistake of thinking this is going to just be a zoom action, right? So we talk about zoom actions all the time. He's thinking that this is going to be a situation where his man Carr here is going to come up and take this. But in every zoom action, this player has the ability to reject coming up and taking the dribble handoff. And if you have a big who can make this pass, like Amari Williams can, it's very dangerous. Ends up getting a foul call there. But that's on Cooper getting beat backdoor and anticipating early that this is just a zoom and trying to deny the zoom and overplaying it. 17 years old. Like so much of this stuff, I'm just going to go, oh yeah, he's like 17. Like, of course this shit happens, right? Like he's going to be so good on defense. It's ridiculous. He already is great on defense. Here, I grabbed this one because they actually ran like a stack pick and roll. And I almost like shit my pants, like with hysterical laughter. Because they actually like finally ran something where there were multiple actions involved. So stack pick and roll. Screen here. Kneppel screens and then pops out after Cooper takes the screen. Hey, we did something. We got an open shot. We ran like a real set and we got an open shot. I love it. Please do it more often. I'm not asking a lot, just a little bit. So single screen, again, just look how nobody else is moving, right? So single action, screen from Maluwak, reversal, single action, screen from Cooper, reversal. I like that we get the switch that we want, and we do get it to Cooper, and Cooper is sick. But we just got to have more going on here, guys. We really need to have more going on offensively here. It can't be, oh, let's do this one thing and then wait. Like, yeah, that's not how offense can work here. I mean, just look at Kentucky. Look at everything that Kentucky is running here. So Kentucky goes, drive, screen, zoom action here. DHO, lift here. Seals Cooper. In the strip. That's just awesome from Cooper. Let's actually watch Cooper instead of like marveling at an offense that's actually moving. See, again, just stands him up. 17-year-old against a 22-year-old. Like you can't really over or underestimate that. Like that is a real factor there. He does a great job. Everyone standing still. Everyone standing still. And Cooper just makes an awesome pass here, right? Great screen. Gets both of them on the ball. They switch it looks like. And that's just a perfect pass. Perfectly weighted. Right over the top to Maluwak. Bumps. Does a great job staying solid, staying in front here. Gets over the top of the dribble handoff. That's absolutely picture perfect in terms of how you want to do this. Comes and asks for the screen from Kneppel. I mean, that's just sick, right? Like you can see that he's starting to figure out how to play with bend too. Asks for the screen because nobody's moving again. Cross. Boom. Just look at how low he is here for a guy that's 6'8", right? Very low, gets through Brea with ease, out leverages Brea. That's the good stuff that he can do. And that's the stuff where he's going to be really lethal. There's another one coming that I loved in this game. This one finally drills a three when they go under a ball screen. I mean, hey, at least we've got Mason Gillis like relocating to the corner, which is nice, but they go way under this ball screen here. With Carr, this is a shot he has to make. If he's going to be a star player in the NBA, have to keep defenses honest. Have to. Can't let them go under like that. He makes them pay this time. Again, single move. He's being asked to create a shot. Everything here is so freaking hard for Duke's offense. And it's because they're not running anything really. That one, misses, comes back out. Single screen after a single screen. And now we're just like kind of watching, right? It's just not, there's not a lot going on here, guys. It's hard. It's really hard. But then Cooper, oh boy, he goes for it. I mean, there's just no circumstance where this can happen. This is pure 17-year-old see ball, go get ball, especially when you're an elite athlete who is like such a defensive playmaker. I mean, Cooper, he's got Proctor helping in here against a non-shooter. I think that's Gillis. Gillis is a pretty good defender. He's got the ball. And he's leaving like the best shooter in the country in Kobe Brea. This is, if I've ever seen a 17-year-old like in college play, it's this one. I mean, can't happen. My guess is we don't see that again this year. He will watch that on tape, and hopefully Shire or whoever their defensive coordinator is will call that out and say, please don't ever do that again. And hopefully that will change. That's fine. Like that's stuff that won't happen when he gets to the NBA. So single screen. This is my favorite play of Cooper's today. Doesn't result in a bucket because Mason Gillis can't take advantage. But this is what like a real wing creator should look like. He's got a big mismatch, sets him up with the between the legs, then whips this quick crossover. And then he spots the cutter off of it. So set up, boom, finds the cutter. That's what a big wing creator should look like. There are not too many guys in college that can do that at that size. That is a super impressive play. He is genuinely creating an advantage there in isolation, collapsing the defense, and passing out of help. That's really good. So here, I mean, look, he's just fucking waiting for anybody to do anything. Like, okay, we've got one screen here. We've got a couple of screens coming up, but like, I mean, look, I like Mason Gillis as a player. I mean, this is just not a hard cut. You know what I mean? Like he's not sprinting, trying to go get the ball and try to get loose here on this curl. It's not great execution. And now that didn't work, now we're sitting here like, oh shit, what do we do now? What happens next? Flag, screen. Now he's just forced to go create, and he does it anyway because he's good. He's so good. Like, okay, screen. Doesn't even get the switch, but 11 seconds left on the shot clock. I'm just going to have to go do it myself. Stops, realigns in midair. I mean, sick play. 7 minutes left in the second half. Single screen, single lift. This is the stuff where it's just like, to me, I don't know what you would want him to do, right? Nobody's moving. There's no offense being run here. He's just being asked to beat Brandon Garrison in space. And he gets a good shot. Like he gets like this nice little mid-range jumper, but like obviously this isn't the shot that you want. But Garrison's trying to stop him from driving to the rim, so he's staying way off of him. So this is the shot you're going to get. Like, yeah. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. This is a great example of his instincts on defense. So come out here, close out onto Carr, who can shoot. Foster breaks down on defense here. I don't know what the plan is. Creasa tells, I think, I don't know who that is. But Cooper just rotates over. Sees it immediately. Sees this ball go, and he's just like, oh shit, I got to be there. He gets over, contests. Keeps Duke in the lead. It's great play. That's an unbelievable defensive play. And now we're driving transition play potentially. Look at how low he gets. And draws the foul, I believe, there. I think he got fouled there. Someone call that? Yeah, my man behind the play calls it. But the other thing I'll call out here, again, we just watched Wemby. It's really hard for Wemby to get low. Look at how low Cooper gets here. And he kind of slips, but I mean, he's so low here. He's just kind of able to continue to out leverage and maintain his balance even after that minor slip. Next possession down the court, literally. Again, just look at everything Kentucky's running. Literally everybody on the court's moving. It's amazing, right? It's fantastic. Bad closeout leads to an easy bucket for Carr to tie this game, I think, for Kentucky. But just again, like the difference in offense here is staggering. You know, you've got that diagonal cut there where Amari Williams is coming here. Got a screen here, and then he's going to the front. Got a man here coming behind. Like, there's just so much happening comparatively between these two offenses. Forcing switches. So my read on what happens here. I wonder, and I don't know this, I'm speculating on this, but the way Cooper plays it, I wonder if he's yelling switch and for Proctor to go out and he wants to take this, or if he's just sitting in the lane helping, knowing that this is a mismatch on Proctor against Amari Williams. I can't tell that. I can't sit here and tell you based on my information that I have at hand what's happening. But I wonder if he's calling out a switch. And then Proctor doesn't switch. He closes out super heavy. The jump can't happen. Like, that just can't happen. That's my guess. So single screen. Then we run a dribble handoff behind it. That's at least something. That's multiple players moving. I like that. That's something new. But again, now we've got, I think that's Otiga away. It's hard. There's nothing doing. I mean, just look at how all of these plays, by the way, are just, hey, Cooper, go do stuff. I mean, that's absurd. Just completely ridiculous. Again, if you are the Boston Celtics and you have Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown and you surround them with 5 shooters or 3 shooters, I guess, Okay. That's one thing. You don't have to go run a lot. Cooper Flagg is not those guys in terms of where he is developmentally as an on-ball player. You can't just inbound this ball and then run like a 4-2 screen because you want the Kobe Brea matchup on Cooper Flagg. It works because Cooper's really good, but as we see later in the game here in these last possessions, it's not a great plan. And look, late in the shot clock, I get it. 10 seconds left at the time of this screen. That's enough time to run like something instead of just the Cooper show. They're putting too much on his shoulders, in my opinion. Go create, go do stuff. And again, unbelievable job here. Stands up Andrew Carr. Dude that's 5 years older than he is, and he just absolutely stands him up. Great defense here. Fantastic work. And now we're at 120 left. Offensive rebound. Pump fake. Goes through, scores. Puts the arm up, too strong. And now we're 72-72. And this is where it gets not great. Hey, we're going to run actions here. We at least ran 3 guys. Now, I would argue that this is just a bad set, if I'm being honest. I don't mind the set if you're actually going to set like real ghost screens. But this just looks like 3 dudes like running through the like not the motions. That's unfair. But like nobody, there's no suddenness to this. It's just poorly executed if this is what you want to run. Like Malik Brown at least fakes like he's going to screen, but he can't shoot. So like, that's not one thing. Like he stops, then goes through. Tyrese just goes through. Khan just goes through. Nobody's fooled by that. Like that's not an exchange. You're not going to get a switch there. You're not getting anything from that. I don't understand the purpose of that. It's like all show without any goal to what's going on. He ends up like turning the ball over again. Just dribbles it off his foot, I think, trying to back him down. That's going to happen, right? 17 years old. He's not like the most developed creator yet, but I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. And then this one, kind of like a pistol screen kind of thing. And he just dribbles it out of bounds. Kentucky wins. This is why this game frustrated me. You have to like run stuff. Just do stuff, right? Give me some zoom actions. Give me more of the stack pick and rolls, right? Like do that. That'd be fun. Have multiple guys moving at once. I swear, you are allowed to have multiple off-ball players in motion at once. That's real. You can do that. I swear. And they did it a couple of times, but it's not against the rules. Look, for Cooper to have 26 and 12 in this game, be pretty efficient, score from the mid-range. Great. A really good game. Really awesome game for him. NBA organizations should be really excited based off of what they've seen. But like, here's the thing too. I saw some people being like, oh, Duke can't shoot based off of this game. Duke has shooters. Mason Gillis is a 41% three-point shooter through 4 years at Purdue. Caleb Foster hit 40% last season and through high school, was a shooter, or at least a scorer, right? I don't know if he's a 40% three-point shooter, but he can shoot. Con Knipple is a top 5 shooter in college basketball. That dude can fucking fire from 3. They have shooters. They have ways to get creative. They can do stuff. Do it. That's all I'm asking. Please just do it. That's all I've got tonight. This has been Post Game Theory. I hope you all enjoyed it. I don't know if I'll be back tomorrow night or not. We'll see. If I do, it'll be a shorter one than this. We're not going 2 hours again. I can guarantee that. But I really needed to talk about Cooper because Cooper was fun. Go to the Game Theory socials. Game Theory Sam V over on X, TikTok, Instagram. Shout out our fearless leader, Andrew Claudio, one of the great human beings working in basketball. Go to The Athletic. Keep me employed over there. I will have rookie rankings tomorrow for you. Please, by all means, go subscribe to The Athletic. What else do I have? Anything else? Shout out our sponsors, Robinhood, PrizePicks, Duer, Mando. We love it. We love all of them. Thank you all for sponsoring the show. We'll be back at least on Friday. I know that. We'll have the show with Bryce, definitely. But until next time, we'll talk soon.